Getting ready to introduce the Texas Longhorns out of the SEC, but a couple of messages pertaining to our folks in the audience and our media members. First, please silence your cell phones and provide your name and media affiliation before you ask a question. We just ask that you do that for every question that you ask. And then those that are joining us on Zoom, just a reminder, you can ask a question too. Just use the hand feature, and we'll try and get to you. Recording press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. Out of the SEC, at 19-15 on the year, the Texas Longhorns, very excited to welcome to the stage Caden Shedrick and Trey Johnson, second-team All-Conference Freshman of the Year in the SEC. Caden, we'll start with you and your excitement of seeing Texas's name Sunday night.
Yeah, it was definitely a long 48 hours after we lost on Friday to Tennessee. There were a lot of questions, not only in our locker room, but definitely across the country about whether we would make it. When we saw our name come up on the screen, we were, just thrilled for the opportunity to be able to come to Dayton and compete another day.
And Trey, your excitement of being in March Madness?
Yeah, it was for sure a long wait. Just thinking about it over and over, lots of prayers. But just when we saw our names pop up there, everybody was excited. I was just grateful overall to have the opportunity that most guys don't get to say in my position, that they was able to play in the tournament. And then just with this group, just means a lot for us all to make it for sure.
Open up for questions on the floor. Let's go to the third row in the middle.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. For each one of you, does Dayton remind you of anybody that y'all played? Do you seem like, Xavier, you seem like you have a resemblance to anybody y'all played this year?
I'll start with Trey.
Just watching them, they remind us a little bit of Vanderbilt. Just like with the style they play defense, their up-tempo, speed up and down the court. And then it's just their size, like how all their players are all interchangeable and stuff like that. So it kind of reminds us a lot of Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Yeah, I think their offense kind of relates to Kentucky a little bit. They like to do a lot of the zoom dribble handoffs and all that Kentucky likes to do. So, and that, as Trey said, yeah, Vanderbilt for sure on definitely defensively. So we're excited for the opportunity to play them.
Let's go to the back, the fourth row.
Paul Chu, media of the University of Dayton. So the fact that 14 SEC schools have made it to the tournament so far, what are your initial thoughts and how do you feel about that?
Caden?
Yeah, I think that 14 SEC teams making the tournament is definitely historical. I think it goes to show the depth of the league this year, and it was challenging night in and night out. So I think that definitely prepared us for this opportunity we have in front of us. And it'll be nice to play, a school from a different conference now and get a different look than what we've been going through the last 3 months.
Trey, the depth of the conference.
It just shows how good the conference is or can be. I would say having all those teams make it, it's kind of be fun and good see how good teams and how far they get throughout the tournament to see how good the league is against other schools from different conferences.
Let's go to the third row on the aisle.
Hey guys, for both of you, Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Now that you guys are in, do you feel like you have kind of like a new lease on life? Because, the Texas team we've been seeing the last couple of games hasn't been, you had a lot of guys hurt, so you're complete now. Do you feel like it's a new team?
Trey?
I don't feel like it's a new team. I would say we were kind of playing the same way, or just having to step up in our roles when guys went down. We still had the same confidence at winning games and stuff like that, but I just feel like it's like a breath of fresh air, I could say, probably just because having everybody back, knowing that we're at full strength and there's no excuses now, just going out playing as hard as we can with our new depth back.
Caden?
Yeah, I'd agree with Trey. I think it's definitely exciting to have everybody back and healthy. I think that we kind of showed flashes of what we can do when everybody's feeling really good these last few games, and hopefully we have some more games down the road to be able to build on that.
Let's go to the last row.
Patrick Sobuski from the University of Dayton. For Trey, you've had a phenomenal freshman season. What's enabled you to have so much success so early on in your career?
I'd say just the faith from the coaching staff, and then just players on my team that had the faith in me to just to just help put me in certain spots because I wouldn't be doing half the things I'm doing without my teammates. I feel like, and then I also do the things on my own and like just with my work ethic and working out and stuff like that. But back on to like my teammates and the faith that they have in me just to pass me the ball and stuff like that because I'm a freshman playing with a lot of older guys and them having faith to pass me the ball and stuff like that, it just means a lot.
Let's go towards the back across the aisle.
Paul Chu, University of Dayton Media. So Trey, like what someone said, that you have a phenomenal season as a freshman, but you also have a high draft stock currently right now. So what are your thoughts on that about entering the draft or staying with a very good team like Texas Longhorns?
I haven't even thought about nothing like that. My thoughts has just been, recently it's just been making the tournament, getting in. Now it's just been focused all on Xavier. I'm just taking it one step at a time and trying to enjoy all the moments I can with my teammates.
Caden, when is Texas at their best?
I think Texas is at our best when, all the guys on the court are really locked in on defense and are playing active, and then on offense when we're sharing the ball, setting good screens for each other, and just playing good team basketball. I think we did that the last few games.
Trey, what's the best quality of this basketball team?
Best quality of the team, I would say, is our speed and size. We have a lot of taller guys, but we're still mobile and active all throughout the roster.
Let's go back to the third row.
Kurt Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Trey, when you go through a shooting slump during a game, how do you balance that where everybody knows you're a very unselfish player, but everybody knows how you can score and how you can get hot in a hurry? How do you balance that with, well, I don't feel like I got it today, or the coaches and teammates said, no, you got to keep shooting?
Even when I know I'm not on, I still got to keep shooting open shots if I get the opportunity. Like, I can't pass anything down. But still just being aggressive on offense while also doing something other in other categories, like maybe getting more rebounds than I usually do, more assists, be more facilitating. Because every time I get the ball, people are going to look, people are going to load. So just even if I'm not if I'm having an off night, just still getting other teammates involved or helping out rebounds, doing other things on the court besides just scoring.
Trey, do you have a favorite March Madness moment growing up?
I'd say when I saw Villanova and Chris Jenkins hit the shot at the top of the key, or Enrique's 2 back-to-back game winners. It was probably the 2 memories I can think of.
Caden?
Favorite March Madness moment was probably just playing in it. It's special. It's like nothing else, It's what we all dream of growing up, and having played it a couple times now, I always cherish these moments, and I'm really excited for guys like Trey on our team and the other guys that haven't been able to experience the tournament to finally be able to feel the magic of it.
Caden, are there moments throughout this year that, for what Trey's been able to do and sort of stepping on the stage as a freshman and in that conference where you're even a little surprised of his success?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I knew who Trey was coming in. I saw how hard he works the whole off season, and I knew what he was capable of, and he's one of the most confident players I've ever been around. So, he has a lot of good things going for him off the basketball court that helps set him up for his success on the basketball court.
Let's go to the third row on the aisle.
Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Watching the video, you guys, when the announcement came down, no one was more excited than Rodney about you guys getting in. How much are you guys talking about how you want to get this done for him? Because I know the season hasn't gone the way he had planned.
Kate?
Yeah, we all want to do it for each other. We definitely want to do it for our coaches, and we want to do it for the guys in the locker room as well. So, we like to say, if one of us, or like everybody eats, is like how we want to try and play. So, like, if we're doing well and the coaches are going to do well, if the coaches are doing well, we're going to do well. So that's just how we see it. We just want to get it done for the guy next to us, and that's how we're going about it.
Trey?
Yeah, I feel like what Caden said is before we start trying to play for the coaches or anything like that, we first playing for our teammates, the same guys going through the same struggles with us every day in practice. So I just feel like us doing it for our teammates, it'll lay over for coach because we all care about one another and we going to try to do the best for each other.
Let's go across the aisle, third row.
Kate, now that you hit 10 out of 10 free throws, are you giving free throw tips to your teammates, and are you going to be shooting the technicals?
Man, yeah, they all asked me how I did it. I said, it's just work. But nah, we gotta get around to talking about technical free throws. I might have to start taking them for Trey if he lets me. But we'll see. Now that I got to my 1,000-point mark, I might let him keep taking them. But yeah, but it was definitely a cool moment, to get back to shooting free throws well, and hopefully I'm able to continue that these next few games.
Change anything?
I didn't change anything. I know I've been a pretty decent free throw shooter my whole college career, and this has been a down year for me. And it was gonna come back at some point, regress to the mean or whatever.
Other questions for our student athletes?
Patrick Zableski from the University of Dayton. You've played a number of close games that have been decided within 5 to 10 points. Do you think having that experience in competitive games helps you going into this tournament?
Caden?
Yeah, that 100% helps you go into the tournament. When it gets down to the last 4 minutes, it's a really close game. It's about, who knows how to win those games, or even if it goes to overtime. I think we've been lucky enough I think we played in 3 overtime games this year, and we won 2 of them. I think that those are really good experiences for us as well leading into March because, things can get really, stressful in those moments, but now we've been in them already. I think that experience will help push us through to the finish line.
Trey, on close games?
I feel like they have helped us out, especially having a lot of close games earlier into the conference, just teaching us how to cherish possessions those last final 4 or 3 minutes, and it also just teaching us how to win games and to come together and be more connected on defense in crunch moments like that. So I feel like it has prepared us for the tournament.
Let's go to the back.
Paul Chu, University of Dayton, for Trey and Caden. Just asking, what's your favorite pregame song before going into a game?
Trey?
Peace of Mind by Lauryn Hill.
Caden?
I don't even have a pregame song I've been listening to. I kind of just bounce around. Like, I'll just go on, like, an artist essential. So, like, recently I've been doing, like, Gunna essentials and just click and shuffle. Or, yeah. I like to listen to what the young guys like to listen to. They like to listen to some rappers I ain't never heard of before. So that kind of gets me going a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know. I just listen to whatever I can find.
Let's go to the other, across the aisle in the back.
Don Nelson from Ohio University. Trey, with the accomplishments for you this year, do you feel like you're one of the leaders on the team?
I say Caden is more of the main leader on the team. I wouldn't say I'm a leader. I just say that I just hold my teammates accountable the same way they hold me accountable. And if I'm leading by any way, it's more by example than me talking about it.
Caden, amongst the music going back there and you being an old guy, which is shocking to me, what is the biggest difference in, sort of this duo up here on the stage? I mean, you as a graduate to Trey as a freshman.
Like what's the difference between us?
Yeah, amongst being like the older guy in the room and trying to have that connection when you got quite the age gap.
Yeah. It is definitely – actually, it hasn't been all too – it's been pretty easy. Trey's an easy guy to get along with. We're roommates, so we spent a lot of time together. They've paired us up as partners a lot, even in preseason. We played a pickleball tournament with the team, and Trey and I were partners, and we won, of course. But, it's easy. They set us up pretty well for us two to get really connected. And then, I have a lot of older guys on the team that are easy to get along with, but – I think that Trey and I have built a pretty good relationship, and, I think that the coach has really helped us out there.
Trey, do you give him a hard time for being an old guy?
Sometimes I do. At times he shows his age, and I got to remind him. But nah, he young at spirit. He just got an old age beside his name.
As a guy who's much, much older, how does he show his age?
Much older is crazy.
It just be
I'm saying much, much older. I'm the guy. I'm still looking at you as young guy. I'm the old guy.
Nah, it just be certain things that I know where it's nothing I can be specific about, but it's not all the time. I just got to remind him when he do.
Other questions for our student athletes? Let's go to the third row on the end.
Eric Henry, Horns 24/7. Trey, forgive me if you were asked this earlier, but just curious, from a college basketball perspective, what have you enjoyed most about this year, just playing college hoops?
Just the memories that I made with the team. That's probably been the best thing, just hanging out with my teammates, just different memories. That's probably the best thing for sure. Outside of basketball, it's probably the best thing. With basketball, it's probably the best thing. Just the memories that I made with my teammates.
Follow that up, Trey. What's been the biggest challenge?
How hard you really got to play to win. I feel like I didn't know how hard you had to play to win a college game when I first kind of got here. And then being in some of those close games just made me realize that you really can't take no plays off or anything like that. So you just got to play very hard just to win one game.
Any more questions for Caden or Trey? Guys, we've really enjoyed your time. Caden, you are a young guy. I just want to validate that. No, we're really excited to watch you tomorrow night as you guys take on Xavier. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As student athletes exit the stage, coming on, the head coach of the Texas Longhorns and Rodney Terry is his group 19-15 on the year. And Coach, before we open up the floor for questions, just your excitement and the feeling that was Sunday night and seeing your name on the board for the selection show.
Well, we're super excited about being here, being in this tournament. You never take it for granted. The opportunity of being here. I'd like to thank the Dayton staff that does a great job here and has done it for over 20 years here in the NCAA Tournament. The welcome that you guys gave us the other day, and what you've been able to do in terms of the environment that you have here in March is second to none. I talked to our guys about this venue and how great of fans you have here in Dayton. I was a young coach at UNC Wilmington, and we got a chance to play an NIT game here. Man, what great basketball fans here. Great venue, just a great setting. I know, again, there's a big rival between Dayton and Xavier. And we like to think that hopefully Dayton, you come over to our side and give us a little bit of home court cooking a little bit as opposed to being on the road. But one of the best venues in all of college basketball here in Dayton. We're excited about being here and competing against a really, really good Xavier and well-coached team.
Open up the floor. First question for Coach. We'll go on the aisle.
Eric Henry, 24/7 Sports. RT, one of the things you've preached over the past, month, 2 months is every game being an NCAA tournament game. Just curious, with you guys having that mentality over the last stretch, how does that prepare for now being an NCAA tournament game?
Well, I think, again, if you're playing March basketball already mid-February, and even really for us in the SEC was pretty much throughout January that you were playing NCAA tournament and March basketball, every possession really matters. The urgency that you have to play with really matters. Rebounding, having a defensive presence really matters, and it really decides the outcome of games. And be no different tomorrow. Xavier may be the fastest team we played all season long. They put tremendous pressure on your transition first down defense. You gotta get back. If you don't, they're shooting a layup or they're scoring a three. Sean's done a great job with this group in terms of the pace that they play with. It's really, really fast, and and puts a lot of pressure on you to get back and set your defense. Fremantle is a really good player inside, and he makes everything go as well. This is just a terrific basketball team that we're competing against tomorrow, and we know we're going to have to have a lot of urgency defensively, and we're going to have to do a great job of trying to rebound the basketball and try to get out and play fast ourselves.
Across the aisle.
Hey, Rodney, Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. You and your staff have coached in a million of these tournaments, but as far as the players are concerned, how much do you lean on guys like Caden Cedric, Tremont, Mark, who have been in these types of games, to kind of trickle down to their other teammates that are doing it for the first time?
Yeah, Cedric, this time of year, it's really, again, about your players being excited about being in the moment. I said to our guys today, we practiced early over at a junior college, and I said, guys, the teams that have success this time of year are teams that have tremendous juice and energy, and they're excited about this opportunity. Sometimes it's not the best team that wins this time of year. For 40 minutes, you got to be the team that comes in and puts your will on that team, for 40 minutes in terms of how you're going to play. But really the non-negotiables are you're coming in, incredible energy, activity. You don't have to play perfect, but you got to play hard, and you got to play selfless, and you got to play together.
Third row.
Kirk Bowles from Houston Chronicle. Rodney, when you put Tremont at the point in the SEC tournament, everything just really seemed to click and flow, and obviously he's bigger and he can see over a lot of people. Did you dabble and think about doing that earlier, and what do you think has made the difference in the offense since then?
No, we did. I mean, he actually played a lot of possessions earlier in the season, some at point, not exclusively like we did there in the tournament. But, there was a lot of thought process in terms of wanting to do that earlier. But for the sake of our rotation, we weren't really allowed to do that. I thought it was much more functional for us when we got Kendall Weaver back in our lineup, because Kendall's really good at execution. He's a great ball mover, and he's a guy that already has a feel for what we're doing and how we do it, and stuff. So when you have another guy out there that can execute along with Caden that knows what you're trying to get done, and now you're putting the ball in Tremont's hands, it makes things flow a lot easier for us. And so, we were able to do that. We were able to also, slide Pope off the ball and give him scoring opportunities to shoot the basketball as well, as opposed to just facilitating all the time, which was good for us too.
Fourth row.
Craig Wade, Longhorn Radio Network. RT, I was just down in the locker room, and I was talking to Julian Larry and Jason Kent about Ryan Conwell, and the vibe I got from them, and similar to what Conwell was saying, is they were all pretty close-knit at Indiana State. And I'm curious to get your thoughts. I asked Coach Miller this about it as well, about how much do you glean from your guys who have played with the other, even as you put together your own form of scouting with your coaches?
Yeah, Conwell's, one of those guys that could go for 40 on any given night. I mean, he shoots the basketball. He's a green light shooter. He can shoot it at any time. He's one of the hottest players coming into this tournament right now in terms of scoring the basketball. Puts a lot of pressure on you. He's a dual threat. He's like a Wade. When we call a Wade is a guy that can shoot the basketball from the perimeter, and he can drive the basketball and score as well. So he's a dual threat player. He's one of those guys that, you have to game plan for and spend a lot of time, with trying to make sure that we understand, hey, we gotta, do a great job by committee of trying to guard this guy. You're not gonna shut him down. He's a great scorer, but you hopefully you do a good enough job that he doesn't go off and have one of those crazy nights.
Third row on the end.
Eric Henry, 24/7 Sports. RT, just curious, in a game like this, and piggybacking for Craig's question with scouting, do you use advanced analytics, or is it just like, hey, we turn on the film and we watch it that way? I'm just curious, as a coach, kind of how you do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we trust the numbers all the time. Throughout the course of the season, we spend a lot of money on that, so so it's a resource that you definitely take notice to. I mean, we're not going to sit here and say we don't, but at the end of the day, it also gets down to, being able to play your principles defensively, and there are guys that may be non-shooters that make shots in games. They're a Division I player. You can't just stay out there and let a guy just shoot a driveway shot, or sometimes we call it a horse shot. he's going to probably make one of those, So, again, you have to play the principles the right way, whether it's a short close, whether it's, a guy that can shoot free throws or not shoot free throws, whether it's a guy that's not a great finisher, play the percentages and not try to foul that guy and not put him on the line, make him make a tough two, So, but what we do, our staff collectively does a great job of really, giving us all the intel, and now we have to get the intel to our guys to where they can apply it.
Back row.
Patrick Zableski, University of Dayton. Obviously, Texas being one of the 14 teams from the SEC in the March Madness tournament. Can you speak a little bit to the gauntlet that is the SEC schedule and how that's kind of prepared you to succeed?
Well, again, I like to start with giving kudos to the leadership of the SEC and Commissioner Sankey and Garth and those guys. They've done an incredible job building basketball year by year in the SEC. I mean, the last 2 years, the 2 previous years, 8 teams got in. We left a league in the Big 12 the last 2 years where we were arguably the best conference in basketball the last 2 years, and we got 8 teams in. So, again, this historic year that we had this past season with 14 teams in, I mean, it's off the charts, The things that our league did in non-conference play, if you look at our wins versus the ACC, in terms of that ACC challenge that we had with those guys, it was unheard of, And so you knew as you prepared for conference play, it was going to be a monster year in terms of every night there were no nights off. You had to bring your A game, You had great coaches in this league. You had great venues in this league. And, again, I think, coming from the Big 12 when we had the number 1 conference in the country, I think it prepares you for NCAA tournament play because every night you're playing an NCAA tournament game. And you don't play with the level of urgency that you have to play with. You'll get beat whether you're at home or you're on the road. So our teams are battle-tested. Now we got to go out and we got to do it, when it counts most here in March.
Coach, on that topic of just the conference, you feature the freshman of the year in the SEC. For you, have you been at all surprised at the success and the level of scoring that Trey's been able to do his first year in the college game?
We took Trey Johnson. He was the only freshman at Media Day and at the SEC meetings, Media Day. And we took him there for a reason. We expected him to be one of the best players in the league. We expected him to be a guy that had a chance to face the media, be a guy that continued to grow in that area because those were the expectations of him coming in. He's a top 5 player in his class in high school, and at one point was the number 1 player in his class coming in. But just like any freshman, he was going to have to come in and be an everyday guy, be a consistent guy to where he grew each and every day. I thought he did a great job of coming in, really embracing himself and with his teammates, learned to trust his teammates over the course of conference play. And I think his level of play got better as conference went along, as he was game plan for from game to game. He let the game come to him. When there were nights that teams were doubling him, he trusted his teammates to let them get some things done. And I think, again, you saw a guy grow, every single game. It's easy if you just go out there and say, hey, Trey, you shoot every ball. No, we don't need Trey shooting every ball. We need Trey playing, the way Trey Johnson has always played. Trey Johnson has always played the game to win. We watched him play 1,000 games in high school. He makes the right play or the simple play in terms of if he's, a guy being double teamed, he's going to hit the open guy. He's going to make the simple play. I know there are a lot of times, how come you guys can't get him more shots? Why does he not have, he's only got 2 or 3 shots in this game. Trey Johnson plays that way. He's not a hog. He's not a pig. He's going to pass that ball, man. He's going to move the ball. When it's time for him to take over, if it's time for him to take shots, he'll take shots. But he's going to take what the defense is going to give him. He's learned to do that over the course of the season. He's going to have to do that at the next level. He's not going to be able to shoot every ball. He's going to play with other great players. But I think that he's learned to do that. I think his growth has been great. From a maturity standpoint, we expected him to be freshman of the year in the league. We expected him to be one of the best players in the league. So and he lived up to the billing.
Back to the third row.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Rodney, I wonder if you've kidded or razzed Sean Miller about the Arizona inbounds violation call, and how painful was that, and has it stuck with you and Rick?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really, ribbed him about it. I mean, we helped him become an Elite Eight coach. They went on and went to the Elite Eight and had a chance to go to the Final Four. And the point that Kirk is referencing is I think it was 2011, my last year at Texas. We played those guys in the Sweet 16 game, and we felt like we had the game won. And there was a 5-second call. Dick Carmel made the call. I can remember Dick, right? Dick was a great official, by the way. No knock against Dick. But a 5-second. I'm calling him out. I do remember that, though. I had him many times in the Mountain West, later in my career, coaching at Fresno State. And I reminded him every time, that we should have been a Sweet 16. 5-second call. 5-second call, and before we could get to the locker room, Coach Barnes wanted that computer because he wanted to make sure that was the right call. But nevertheless, they got the ball back. Derek Williams scores an inbounds play. They win the ball game. They go to the Sweet 16. So we gave them situation gave him a great gift that day. But no, Sean's a great coach. He's been a great coach for a number of years. He had some great teams at Arizona. I got a chance to coach against him a couple of times at Arizona when I was in Fresno. And we got a chance to compete in the NCAA tournament last. But his teams have always been very well coached. They don't beat themselves. And they play really, really well and together offensively. But yeah, that was a great moment in the tournament. About 4 seconds.
Let's go to the back of the room across the aisle.
Paul Chu, media for the University of Dayton. So you guys made it into the March Madness first four, which is a huge accomplishment, but I would like to talk about your women's team. You guys are number one right now in the AP poll for women's basketball. What do you have to say for that and that accomplishment?
Vic Schaefer is one of the best coaches in all of women's basketball. He has done an incredible job in terms of building a program at the University of Texas. First class in everything he does, both on the court, off the court. He had a terrific team last year, and a team last year that was good enough to win the whole thing. He had great continuity with a lot of players back from last year's team. He had a couple more pieces to this year's team. Transfer portal, freshmen coming in, and they, again, right now as the number one seed, they have an opportunity to cut the nets down. I mean, they're really good. Madison Booker, I mean, she could come and play with us. I mean, she's that talented. She's terrific. I mean, she's a player, and but they've got other great teammates, and they've got a great team around a great player. When it's winning time, she knows when to take over and get things done. But she's not only a really good player, but she's a really good person. And much respect for what Coach Vic has done at the University of Texas, and we're pulling for them to win the whole thing this year.
Let's go back to the third row.
RT, I know you have a lot of this roster turnover next year. I'm sure Vic might take a little bit of issue if you take Maddie from his roster there. But no, on a serious note, just with Trey, as a coach, is there a dichotomy between preparing him for the NBA, which inevitably he will reach, versus coaching him as a collegiate player?
Yeah, Eric, I think, again, I've been blessed to coach a number of one-and-done players, and we knew when we signed Trey Johnson was a one-and-done talent, and I think the thing you try to do with those guys is you try to, one, have a great relationship to where you can coach them on the floor, to where they know when you're coaching them to even get out of their comfort level in terms of there's another level that you can go to. And do you want me to coach you to be a freshman and have just a good freshman year? You want me to coach you to be freshman of the year? You want me to coach you to be one of the best players in the country? And there were moments throughout the course of the first part of our tenure coaching, young Trey Johnson, that he had to come to grips with that. And I thought that he really embraced that and said, hey, no, Coach, I want you to coach me to be one of the best players in the country. And is that demanding? Is that holding him accountable to another level other than just a freshman? Yes. But I think he embraced that. I think his teammates embraced that in terms of how good we were pushing him to be this year. And I think he's excelled at a high level. Is there still room for growth in his development? Absolutely. All of our guys still had great room for growth. Kevin Durant had great room for growth, and he's one of the best freshmen of all time. But again, I think he's really matured in a number of different ways. You can go back and look in game situations in conference play this year. We put the ball in his hands to win the game in several games with game-winning plays. Did he make those? No, but those were growing moments. As a young player, to put the ball in his hands, to say, go win the game for us, that's a growing moment for him. And all great players have failure, but they learn from failure to be better. But they want that ball in that moment. Can he do that a year from now? All day, every day. But we coach guys that way that had a hard time doing that when they were freshmen, sophomores. But when they were seniors in college, they're scoring that basketball. They're making that winning play. But you have to have that growth. And that was some growth that we saw with Trey Johnson over the course of the season. Arkansas game should have been at the foul line to win the game. But we're going to let that go, right? That's a game winner, free throw. We'll let that one go.
Coach, looking back at your season, overall, I guess two questions. One, what's the best quality of your basketball team? And then two, what's the most complete game or the best game that you've played on the year?
I think the thing that's most liking of our team this season, I said it from the start of the year, team chemistry. These guys I have a group of guys that all like each other. They made so many great memories this year that they'll talk about the rest of their lives in terms of, whether they're ribbing each other on the bus, they're ribbing each other, after a film session. But these guys spend a lot of time with each other, and it happened very organically. We didn't force feed it, but they really, really like spending time with each other, not just on the court, but off the court. Our most complete game, I thought we played really well at Mississippi State. I thought that was a game where our guys, from the start of the game to the finish of the game, they really executed the game plan in terms of how we wanted to play defensively. We could have done a few things better offensively to close the game out in terms of handling their pressure. But I thought it was probably one of our most complete games. I thought our game against Vanderbilt in the tournament was one of our most complete games of the year as well. So I'd probably say those two games. I know we played really well at LSU, but those two games stand out the most to me in terms of scouting report, and then going out and executing and just playing the level of basketball that we thought we were capable of playing this season.
Any more questions for Coach? Coach, thank you so much. We're really excited to watching your group tomorrow night. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Hammond Communications is going to post this recording. NCAA Digital Media Hub. That's ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts will be provided shortly. The road starts tonight. St. Francis and Alabama State at 6:40, followed by North Carolina and San Diego State.